Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Pagey here, once again with another review on Arrow Season 4. This is for episode 18 entitled 11:59. I actually just started there. But I haven't actually watched the episode yet. I'm about to right now. But I thought I'd do a bit more positive intro because if something happens in this episode in regards to a death, I might be a bit pissed off. So I thought I'd just do a bit more of a positive intro. In regards to predictions, it's either going to be Diggle, Laurel, Thea, or Captain Lance. So let's get into my actual review after I've watched it.
1 hour later.
Well, just finished watching that. I'm sorry, but whoever wrote that last 5 minutes, what the fuck was that? The whole point of, like, fair enough if it was a secondary character, but this is the Black Canary. Obviously, it's not fair enough if you're going to make her die, but if you're going to let her die, what the fuck was that? You make it sound like she's okay, and then she randomly goes into, what was it, cardiac arrest, without any explanation as to how she went into that cardiac arrest. If that does not get explained next episode, then what the fuck? Did Damien Dark, once he pulls them out of himself, is he covered in some magic blood that automatically makes people die like half an hour to an hour or sometime after they've been stabbed? Does it make them die randomly? Like, what the fuck? Overall, the episode was actually really good. Not going to explain why. I think everyone can realise why it was actually good. Laurel's moments, really good acting by Katie Cassidy, as you would expect, and you could tell, it was just like too obvious that even without those spoiler leaks, even without the grave side being leaked or anything like that, you could tell she was going to die. Diggle was in it. He had that issue with his brother, be like Diggle's hardly in it compared to Laurel, and Thea was hardly in it. They would I don't know, they did not measure that up. Like, it was way too easy to tell that Laurel was going to be the one that dies, regardless of the leaked spoilers. Just stuff that happened in the first episode. In probably the first 10, maybe 15 minutes of this episode, you could say, boom, Laurel's going to die. Way too easy to pick. Like, what the hell was that? In regards to Captain Lance not being able to say goodbye to his daughter, this really should tear him on. I have a feeling Captain Lance might also die or something like that, because if he's really going to go after Dark, because really with Laurel, let's say, I don't know what I was going to say, but with Laurel dead, what is his purpose on the show now? Like, I know he's under investigation for all these things, and he got arrested for, like, really not infiltrating, but, like, exceeding the police barrier at Iron Heights. So what is his role? If they really just keep him on the show to be a boy toy for Felicity's mum, then I don't know what the fuck's going on, because I'm going to break it down for you. These are the characters that couldn't have died this episode due to the fact that their characters aren't probably, like, fully developed. And funnily enough, they are the two best developed characters on the show, but they're not fully developed, and that's Laurel and Thea. Those two shouldn't have been in, like, the lottery, I guess you could say, to be killed. Diggle and Captain Lance are probably the two that were most likely, just due to the fact that Captain Lance really is sort of fully developed and is really on the show just to aid in regards to Laurel and now obviously Felicity's mum. And then Diggle, really, he's probably as developed as he's going to get. And I know people were saying about the Connor Hawke thing in Legend of Tomorrow, the show would end before he even had that kid, so that really doesn't come into play at all. The one thing that was easy to pick throughout this episode as well is that Andy was going to betray them. Like, that was just, like, way too obvious. It was just like out in the open. It's like, he's obviously going to betray them. Like, it's no shock. And I was just waiting for the moment. And then when the police in the Iron Heights, I was like, oh, here it comes. In regards to where Laurel got stabbed, they didn't really tell us where she got stabbed. Like, it looked like the stomach or the guts or something like that, but it really didn't look like a kill shot, if you know what I mean. Like, she would have lost blood. But then it comes down to, they said she was stable, she was going to be alright, and then she just died. Once again, I hope they explain that next episode, but there's a break after this, so we're going to have to wait a while. In regards to where this show is going to go, I don't know. Really, I honestly don't know. I really can't see what they're going to do next season without, like, because Laurel didn't really even have that good of an ending. She had a conversation with Oliver. I really would have liked if Laurel had a conversation with her father, like a good one. Like, they had that conversation at the Tempura bar or something, which wasn't that unbelievably great. I would have preferred something else. But overall, I think this is the day that Arrow stops being a Green Arrow show. It's no longer a Green Arrow show. It is just a show with a guy that shoots bows and arrows sometimes, because he hardly ever does. And this is just a build-up of frustration, not only for me, but a lot of people. Like, a lot of people, especially on YouTube, that might do Green Arrow reviews, don't express what is wrong with the show because they're afraid that people are going to have a backlash. Like, I'm assuming on this video, there's going to be a list of people or people that disagree with me saying I'm an idiot. I'll probably get, a lot of dislikes. I don't know. But people seem to be scared to express what they feel about the show. But I'm fine. It's even in the first season, you couldn't even call it a Green Arrow show. It was just a show about Oliver Queen. Like, he's taking a different persona, but they did promise us that this season would be much like the comics, like the Green Arrow comics, and I'm yet to see a lot of that. Really, he did some stuff that he did with the Green Arrow, like ran for mayor, didn't become it, and then I thought it was going to play out differently, what happened there with like the DA and stuff like that, but it didn't, so whatever. But without the Black Canary in the show, and before people say, oh, Sarah come back and be the Black Canary, Sarah was never the Black Canary. She was just calling herself the Canary. She didn't really have the, I guess you could say, the personality of the Black Canary. I think the Katie Cassidy Laurel definitely fit that better with the Black Canary. We could argue with the suit. I didn't really like the suit when it first came out, but you sort of learn to live with it. But just as a fan of the Green Arrow, I always said I would remain loyal to Arrow. I'd always watch it, whether it was really bad or, well, obviously if it's really good, you're going to watch it. But even if it gets to really bad, which at the moment it's probably at its lowest point, I think. Like season 3 is was pretty, average to say the least. But to the fact now that they've killed off the Black Canary after a string of average episodes, par the Taken episode with Vixen that came in, it's really in a bad place at the moment. And I can't, the criticism of it online and stuff like that isn't as big as it should be. And this is coming from a person that loves Green Arrow. Like, where are they? I'll be back in a sec. These are just the Green Arrow comics, like specifically there's a Justice League one there, but that's like specifically Green Arrow. Like, boom, Green Arrow. This is like not even like, it's about a third of my Green Arrow like trade backs and stuff like that, because I just usually use the internet like Comixology and stuff to read comics, but I always buy Green Arrow in paper because it's my favorite. And before anyone says you're not a Green Arrow fan, I am. I love Green Arrow. I said that in multiple videos that Green Arrow is my favorite. Tied with Green Lantern, but Green Arrow always gets there because he is just a human. He doesn't have any special powers, might I say. And the fact that week after week I have to watch this show tread further and further away from the source material is really frustrating. And people can say, oh, sometimes that's good, but not really. In small amounts, yeah, like sure enough, they changed like certain things, like Oliver's costume doesn't look like it is in the comics. Fair enough, I could not give two shits about that. But when they tread so far away from the source material that it just doesn't even feel like the actual hero, it's frustrating as fuck. If you look at The Flash, really faithful to the source material. So many little Easter eggs. Arrow has Easter eggs here and there, but it's really stopped after like halfway through season 3. They really tread away from that. But Flash, even Legends of Tomorrow, really faithful in regards to if they're in a certain time period with a certain character, it's really faithful to it. Supergirl has gone leaps and bounds above Arrow, and that is saying something, because Supergirl, just being honest, in the first episode was okay, but anything after that, up to like episode 8 or 9, was really hard to watch. Like, I just really didn't enjoy watching it, but now Supergirl is really enjoyable to watch, and Arrow is probably the bottom. If Constantine was still up, Constantine was that would probably be at the bottom, but in regards to this like Arrowverse that they're sort of setting up, it is definitely down the bottom, and it's really weird that it's called the Arrowverse, but it's at the bottom. So yeah, I probably got on like rambling, like I didn't write any notes as to what I was going to say. I just wanted to speak from my head and my heart, I guess you could say. But it's just a frustrating thing to watch, and I know people are probably going to disagree with me and say that I take something too serious, but I grew up watching Green Arrow, reading the books to escape from reality. It's sort of frustrating to watch when something on TV is just not embracing that character and the side characters as well. Like, we've now got a Green Arrow show that they've said that this death is permanent, so it's most likely going to be permanent. So we have a Green Arrow show with our Black Canary, and Roy Harper's not in it. Speedy, aka Thea, isn't the Speedy like Mia Dearden, which I can forgive because they sort of was setting that up since season 1. Like, her nickname was Speedy, so I really cannot go against that. It just doesn't feel like a Green Arrow show anymore. So really, I don't know what the fuck they're going to do. They're going to finish this season off. I'm going to watch it, still do videos on it, but it's not like I'm going to be unbelievably excited for every single episode because it's, yeah. Fuck Mark Guggenheim.